So Wuthering Waves keep exceeding expectations with version 1.1. If you don't know, just yesterday we had the release of version 1.1 for Wuthering Waves, which was a huge update. I mean, we've got a ton new story, we've got new characters like Jinhsi, which look really good. I mean, her abilities are super nice to play. And also we just got a ton of little small updates too, which I definitely think is worth pointing out. For example, if I literally just go into the game, go into the databank thing, this is especially where I noticed it. It was like this kind of screen here. It feels like they've changed it and kind of optimized it. I mean, you know, the overall design hasn't changed, but it definitely looks a lot smoother and nicer, which I definitely appreciate, and I can see that they've made all of these little small changes in the game, including getting rid of the really loud music at the start of the loading screen. So if you turn your music down in the game, it will now go down on the loading screen too, rather than having like full blast volume Wuthering Waves music whenever you try to play the game at any point. But in this video, I wanted to kind of focus a little bit on the story. Now, yesterday I played through the entirety of the story. I had a full go at it, literally played it in one sitting, and it was actually pretty good, and I would definitely say it was better than 1.0. As you know, 1.0 was a much longer story. We have multiple chapters to it, and it was pretty decent, but it was like nothing really special. But version 1.1 has definitely knocked it out of the park with this one, and I'm much more confident in Wuthering Waves' storytelling, as the overall story wasn't too slow and it wasn't too fast, and they just got the pacing absolutely right, as well as having some like really cool like plot points and stuff like that to do with Jinhsi and WuWa. And obviously I won't go too much into it because I don't want to spoil it for you if you have not played it yet. But quickly, before I get into this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy it, and also go over to GamerSubs and use my code Kaza in the link below where you can get yourself some cups, tubs, and even more. But yeah, definitely go check them out, and let's get back into the video. So the overall story was super fun, and we actually got to try out Changli in the actual story quest, which was super nice, and I think it's an amazing move by Kuro Games here, because it definitely builds up a lot of the hype for her character, because whenever playing her, her character was amazing. I mentioned this in the last video whenever I compared Jinhsi and Changli, but her design is so nice, and I'm definitely going to be pulling on it because the overall like Phoenix design was just amazing. And as you can see here, they've actually included her in the gallery so we can actually like see some stuff about her still, which again is just like preparing for the next phase of the banner so that a lot of people will come over and pull for Changli. And also it gives people like a choice to weigh out the options between Changli and Jinhsi on which one they want to pull for, because obviously a lot of people playing this game are free to play and don't have the pools to pull for both of them. So again, I think that's just super good. But I think one of the main fixes has to be mentioned, which is the voice acting. The voice acting in the story was so much better. And if you play both the 1.0 story and the 1.1 story, then you will see a massive difference in the quality and just the overall directing in it. So it seems like Kuro Games have definitely taken on our advice from the last update, because if you don't remember, last update, people were most critical about the voice acting, especially the English voice acting. I mean, the Japanese voice acting, the Chinese voice acting, the Korean voice acting were all fine. It was mainly the English one, where they had a lot of poor directing, and the voice actors just didn't really know what they were voicing, which caused a lot of confusion, and obviously the voice acting didn't turn out too well. So whenever we got the story with Jinhsi and the whole of Mount Firmament, then it was actually significantly improved. And honestly, the voice of Chisha and also Yang Yang had improved. I mean, Yang Yang could sound a little bit more like less sleepy, but again, I still think her voice actor even changed a little bit, which was just super nice. And yeah, the voice acting just became a little bit less boring, which I think contributed to the story's success and the story being good, because I think if we had a lot of slow voice acting and a lot of like, you know, weird voice acting, I think the story would have just hit not as hard, and I think it would have dragged on a little bit more than it actually did. But it seems like with this voice acting, they actually killed it, and I hope that we get more of this in the future, because yeah, it was just super nice, and it seems like the voice actors were actually knowing what they were doing this time, and the director actually knew what they were doing as well. So again, it just made it seem much more fun, lighthearted, and just more enjoyable overall. So people are really happy with that online and saying that, hey, this is a massive improvement, and it's super nice to see Kuro Games making these changes, and hopefully we won't have to complain about the voice acting anymore. But as I said, in this update, we also got introduced to a new place called Mount Firmament, which is a new like kind of like mountainous area. It's very snowy. It's actually really cool. I really like the design of it. It has a whole kind of like reddish kind of rock feel to it, but also like there's just tons of snow over it as well. It's really weird and really like unique. I don't think I've really seen an area like this. I mean, there's probably some out there if you do some digging in games and stuff. But again, from just like gacha games and stuff that I've played in the past, I haven't really seen an area like this. So again, it's super nice to see them making a unique area that hasn't just been copied from, you know, another game. And I think the quest actually brought us to this area quite nicely, because obviously a lot of games just literally bring out a new area, add no story to it, and explain later in the story. Whereas this, I think they've managed to, you know, bring you over, tell you about the place, you know, have you invested in the place a little bit better, allowing you to enjoy this place and explore it more, rather than, as I said, just bringing in an area and being like, there you go play it kind of thing. So again, it's super nice how they included this Mount Firmament area in the lore and in the story, and I think it was the perfect setting with the whole like jinhsi being like all silverhead and stuff and all the snow. I think that was a very good design choice from the team. And yeah, I just can't wait to see a lot of the new areas we're going to see, because they did talk a little bit in the story about like areas outside of Jinzhou. So hopefully we're going to be able to see that maybe in like version 2.0 or maybe even earlier known Kuro games, because they do like to push a lot of things early at the moment. And yeah, I'm just wondering what that's going to look like overall. Yeah, as I said, the story was super entertaining. I mean, the whole stuff with Jue was super nice and jinhsi. And also we got introduced to a couple of new characters, a couple of new plot points. I mean, you know, we found out more about the rover, which obviously I'm not going to spoil, but you know, we did find out more about them and, you know, where they came from the beginning. And most importantly, this story wasn't one that just kind of like had story and then moved on. This had actual meaning. You know, as I said, we found out more about the rover. We found out about Jue and jinhsi. I mean, the whole plot point so far is jinhsi trying to save Jinzhou, which is super nice, and it has like actual stakes to it, rather than like, you know, in previous games like Genshin Impact, we've had quests where it's just been like, hey, you go out shopping or something and then come back and then nothing else really happened. Whereas this was actually really nicely written, and yeah, it was just an amazing story overall. And you may have seen in one of my last videos, I talked about whether Zenless Zone Zero was going to kill Wuthering Waves and such. And obviously version 1.1 came out on the day of the Zenless Zone Zero livestream. And to be honest, I think that Wuthering Waves is actually doing amazingly. I think they've definitely got the best possible outcome from the Zenless Zone Zero livestream, because it was very short, no one talked about it much, and it seems like the hype for it isn't as high as the hype for Wuthering Waves or even previous Hoyoverse games. Now obviously, I do want Zenless Zone Zero to do good. It looks like a good game. I like the overall design of it. But again, from Hoyoverse moving the livestream to the 28th, trying to, you know, combat against the version 1.1 update, I'm pretty certain whenever I say that version 1.1 was definitely the bigger event on that day than the livestream, and that the livestream was just full of a little bit of yapping and just kind of like stuff we already knew. I mean, it was cool. And they like announced stuff like a free 100 pools, which technically isn't true because you do have to get it in the game. I mean, Wuthering Waves had over 100 pools, and I think Genshin Impact had way more, like 200 pools, if you count everything in the game. So if you're worried about Wuthering Waves, you know, potentially going down because of Zenless Zone Zero, I don't know why you would be, because, you know, Zenless Zone Zero isn't exactly the same game or anything, as I mentioned in the previous video. If you do want to know more about that, then I definitely recommend going to go watch that. But again, Wuthering Waves is definitely safe, and they've definitely proven themselves to be a game that can stick around for quite a while and not be affected by these other game releases and other game live streams and updates. And honestly, I think Hoyoverse are going to keep trying to, you know, disrupt them and the other way around, but I don't think it's really going to do much, and I think Wuthering Waves is actually going to have a little bit of an upper hand here. So again, just let me know what you think about this 1.1 update. Did you enjoy the story? Did you think the voice acting was better? And also let me know what you think about the Zenless Zone Zero livestream. Do you think that, you know, it affected Wuthering Waves at all? Or do you think that it was a pretty boring live stream and nothing really happened in it? But yeah, that's about all I got for this video. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And also go over to Gamer Subs, as I said, use my code KAZA. Go down to the link in the description, and I will see you in the next one. That's all. See ya.